What's good, y'all? You know who it is. Big Tank Hank. Coming at you with another live stream. I know I forgot to say it's your boy, but hey, I had this nap, and this nap is sitting on me kind of heavy right now, and the coffee hadn't done a whole lot at this point. Thank y'all for coming in. Thank y'all for coming in this night. We got a wonderful guest tonight. You all know him. Senor Lefty. We're going to bring Lefty up, man. See what he's been up to. See how life's treating him, what he has in his fish room. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get this going. Uh-oh. Let me turn down my volume. That should be something I do all the time. All right. Without further ado, Lefty, what's going on, man?
It's going pretty good. You?
Oh, man, except for, my minor malfunctions I was having at the beginning of this. Other than that, I'm doing good, man.
Good to hear.
Good. How you feeling?
Feeling a little tired, but I got my coffee, so I should wake up at some point.
Oh, really? Hey, man, look, I'm sitting there with one big eye and one little eye. Yeah. Man. Ooh, what's good, everybody? What's good? Yeah, we starting out real special tonight, but that's all right. We've made it. We're here and you're here. Thank you very much. Oh, let's see who we got in the chats. Hey, y'all, see, first up there says Isis Alexander. That's my wife's name, but I'm on her iPad, so it's actually me. And yes, her name is Isis, like, the terrorist groups, to answer the question. But she was born with that. Don't hold it against her, Bunny Viper, what's going on? First time me hearing your name, but thank you for coming through. Casual Aquatics, what's going on, buddy? Jimmy P, Mistress Snail Guardian, Ricky De Hoyos, local homeboy, what's going on? Lefty telling y'all, hey, R to the B, Animal Rescue. What's going on, sir? What else we got? Jeffrey Watts, what's happening? What's happening? Who else we got? Casual. Petite. Oh, Patty. What's going on, Patty? Pompeii Ranch, thank you for coming in, and thank you for that super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Darlene's Tanks, thank you for coming in. What's happening? What's happening? T and Aqua, man, where you been? You've been lost, man. You've been lost. You've been lost. You still got a spot on my live stream, man. You've been ducking. You've been lost, man. I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you've been, TN. See how that rhyme? All right. Lefty.
Yes.
What's going on, brother? What's going on, brother?
Going pretty good. Had a nice tiring week at work, but other than that.
Hey, man. I have to tell myself, work was the key word. Tiring, exhausting. Oh, all the people there, I could push them, over, but work. You can say you work,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say you work, man.
Get to work with over 600 kids every day. It's great.
I'm here to tell you. And it's bad to make the connection, but I work in corrections. And since I have been in school as a student and I work in corrections, I know people don't understand, there's a correlation. So I can understand what you have a tendency to go through, because it's like I'm a school teacher myself, Hey, sit down. No, you can't do that. No, I'm talking now. Can you listen? Be quiet. No, you can't go home. You do have to be here. No,
Yeah.
Stop correcting me. I'm the authority figure here.
Yep. I basically have said the same. Said all those things multiple times over. You're not in charge here. I'm the adult.
Ooh, for real.
And we're freaking pre-K through 5 school, so it's not even like we're dealing with high school age kids. These are 5-year-olds that are thinking they're in charge, and it's like, no, we're the teachers. You could just sit there and learn what 2 plus 2 is.
Right. Dr. Black, what's going on?
Hey,
Black
Black,
is in
how's
the
it going?
house. Hey, what you drinking on? Thank you for coming through, though, buddy. Thank you for coming through. I understand, TN, though. I understand. Hey, though. Prison is probably more like pre-K through 5. Yeah. About the same.
I mean, if you're outside of recess, you're just running around chasing each other. It's probably more civil where you work. Just running around screaming bloody murder, chasing each other. I'm like, why do kids just scream now? We never ran around screaming our heads off.
Yeah, no, it is a little better than that. Yeah, that's there's a little more ambition if you get chased around there, you know.
Yeah.
It'll be for a reason.
Last week we had it was 3rd grade, and this group of 5 kids. One kid was running away, and 5 kids were like, "Get him!" And me and the teacher looked at each other, and we're like, "Did they really just say get him?" It was like a pack of wolves chasing this one kid. So we both walk over, and we're like, "No, you can't be getting them."
Yeah, nowadays we don't know what the end result is of that. Yeah, no, you can't be getting it. No pack mentality. Don't do it.
And that was I think 3 days prior to one kid getting bullied the entire recess period. And I'm like, how did no adult see this happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I happened to be in the nurse's office when that little boy came in, and the teacher was like, he said he fell at recess and then was dragged. And I looked at her, I said, "Did you say dragged?" She's like, "That's what he said." So we have cameras around the whole building and outside. So I go into the office, I sit down with the secretary, and we're watching the camera back. And for 20 minutes, they chased this kid around, knocked him down, and pulled him around by his arms. I'm like, someone threw a shoe at him. They took his shoes off. They sat on him. I'm like, where were the adults? How did they let this happen?
Hey, question. Something that I've been wondering about for a while, but really had no teacher to ask or to think about it. Drew, fishing beds was up, but I didn't think about it. Now I can ask you. Like everywhere else, do teachers have their phones out looking at them?
No.
Okay.
We all have our phones on vibrate, and we'll leave them on the desk or in like our pockets or something, but we don't ever just have them out.
Because, man, look, you know, I see situations sometimes. It's like, okay, you realize you're at work, Mr. Security Guard. Story, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself to the people that might not know you. But I'm gonna tell this story. Okay, there's a gas station that is a how do I call it? A lotto house? I mean, I don't even know what to call it. It's like this mega lotto ticket place, but it's also a convenience store.
Okay.
It's like a little lotto Las Vegas, in the middle of the country town. It's literally a gas station, but you have these windows and you have machines and you have all the lotto tickets hanging up, and I mean it's something special. It's something special to see, man. It's a degenerate paradise. But you walk in the front door, Blake, what's going on? You walk in the front door and there's a security guard standing right there, right? Okay. First off, seems like the only thing uniform he had on was like the jacket. Okay, I'll let you make it on that one. But he's over there like scratching. If he wasn't scratching off lotto tickets, he was scrolling. So, I'm like, this particular establishment, crimes can occur here pretty
Yeah,
easily.
I can imagine.
And the one security guard I saw, he's over there. I'm gonna hit today, and I'm through with this. Thunder Aquatics, what's going on? Yeah, I'm like, man, for real.
Not the best place to be doing that.
Fish Tropics, what's going on? I'm like, oh my God.
Now, if that was
a supervisor,
if that was up here, somebody would drive a car through the building, because we've had that happen. All of our convenience gas stations up here, people will take their cars, drive full speed through the front door to break in and rob them. Because you're so dazed when the car comes through the freaking building.
Yeah.
Then they'll just grab whatever they can.
Way, huh?
I think it was the local Target, like 6 months after it opened, someone backed into the front because it was an ATM machine. They wrapped a chain around the ATM machine and just took off and were driving with an ATM machine behind their truck. just a trail of money. The cops found him in an hour.
Ooh, man, got nothing. All of that got nothing, man. Boy, I swear, the stuff that you see. Okay, let's get the wheels back on track. Introduce yourself and give the people, a little rundown of you, how you got in the fish hobby, where you're from, who you be,
All right. Well, for those that don't know me, the name's right there. It's Lefty3213a. Let's see. That's usually the first question I get. How'd you get the name?
I was about to. I wasn't gonna let you slide by that. No.
So I was, I don't know, four or five when we finally got, dial-up internet back in the day. That's when you had to use your phone lines, kids, for internet. Your landline, the old phone that you had the dial and the rotary dials. So I'm on AOL. The cat, I must have looked next to me, and the cat next to me's name was Lefty because it had one foot that was all white and the rest were gray. I was like, okay, I'll put in Lefty as my screen name. Well, naturally, Lefty's taken because there's thousands of people on AOL at the time. So it auto-generated the numbers, and I was like, okay, this is fine. But, because I was young, my parents put, the parental lock on it. So then at that point, I think it was 12 or 13 years later, forgot the password, and the parental lock was still stuck to it. So I just made a new one and added an A to the end of it, first letter of the alphabet. And that's how I got the name.
And you, at what age you said? 4?
I think I was 4 or 5, yeah. And I just kept it. I was a branding genius at the age of 4 because everything's the same name. If you see that username, 99.9% chance to be.
All right.
So let's see, fish. Oh. It's probably around the same age when we got my first fish. Wonder I'm not Goldie 3213a because goldfish, Goldie, 4 years old, easy name for a fish.
Got you.
So we get I think I won a fish at a wedding or we bought it or something. We get, the gallon fish bowl like everybody did back in the day. You would get a 55-gallon tank for a goldfish 20-something years ago. You got a goldfish bowl. Do the daily, every other day, change the water. I think the thing lived 7 years, maybe a little longer. I don't know how old it was when we got it, but didn't get very big. And then, let's see. Somewhere in between getting that fish and something else, we had a hex tank. I think it was a 15-gallon hexagon tank. It had like there was like a dome on the bottom, so the light was underneath this dome. So it was bottom lit, which makes no sense because substrate goes on the bottom. But I guess we didn't use substrate in that one. I think it had some kind of airline filter to it. It didn't have a sponge. It wasn't a sponge, and it wasn't a hang-on back. I think it had some kind of internal something going on that hooked up to an air pump or something. In that tank, I think we just had Tetras, and they were probably Serpes, because for some reason Serpes have always stuck with me, so they must have been Serpe Tetras when I was a kid, and I just can't remember. Let's see. And then at some point, we upgraded the tank to a regular, just rectangle. And that's, when the mother unit you go to do your water maintenance and changes on it. You dump all the fish out into a bowl, like a freaking mixing bowl. The fish are in that. You put the gravel in a colander. She's washing them with bleach and water. She's Windexing the tank to get the algae off, and soap and water the tank. Then you just put it all back in and fill it up. I don't even think we used the chlorinator. You just take
old school.
Yeah. You just take your net and you take the fish from your mixing bowl and you put them back in the tank. So that was my childhood of fish keeping. Then I think high school, probably junior year of high school, so like 16, 17 years old. I had been out of it for maybe 4 or 5 years, and I was like, you know what? I want a fish tank again. So I somehow either convinced or guilted my father, not sure which one, into getting me a fish tank. I think I got straight A's or something, because I was like, hey, can I have a fish tank? And he's like, sure, I don't care. So I think it was probably a 10-gallon. We went to Petco, got a 10-gallon, threw it in my bedroom on like a stand that was maybe an 8-inch wide bookshelf. So the tank overhang like 2 inches on either side. Not a good fit at all. Put the stuff in, and that tank had Cory cats and Serpes in it again. That one, I think, that was when like bamboo was like the go-to live plant for your fish tank. So of course, I have my twigs of bamboo in there. I had no clue that the leaves had to be out of the water.
Some people still don't.
I think Petco at the time also had bamboo shrimp, and I thought they were the coolest looking thing. So I was like, you know what? They're $9. Sure, I'll get one of these. Again, knew nothing about them. I think I had that thing for 12 hours, and then I, checked the tank, and it's pink. It's dead. It's pink. It looks like a cooked shrimp at this point. I'm like, what the heck happened? So then Petco has like if the fish dies within 48 hours, they'll give you a new one. So I got another one. That one lived fine. Then I was doing a water change, and at that point, I still took the fish out of the tank because that's what I was so used to growing up. So I think I still had the goldfish bowl after it passed. So I would just put the fish in the bowl and do my water changes and, clean the gravel. But I didn't wipe the Windex the tank or anything. So I got the fish in the bowl. They're in the bathroom because that's where the sink was. And I'm filling up the tank. I come back and I get to witness my 4 Cory cats. Hey, Lisa. Swim up and rip the fins off a Serpe tetra. This is Cory cats. Now,
the one. Oh.
Yeah, but you think Cory cats. You think peaceful community fish.
You found out.
Well, have you seen the movie Deep Blue Sea?
Yes.
Now, you remember the scene where the Makos attack the tiger shark for feeding? It looked like that scene where the Corys just came up and ripped the fins off of the Serpe tetra. I was like, what the heck?
That's crazy.
Then I was like, well, shoot. I didn't want to. I think I had like 3 Serpes at the time. Didn't know about, schooling sizes or anything. So at that point, I was like, okay, well, I got 2 of these things left. So I just left the surface in the bowl and put the Cory cats in their own tank because I'm like, well, they killed one. Are they gonna kill the other ones?
Oh man.
And I had that tank from junior year through senior year. And then I went fishing. Or no, was it fishing? No, before that. One night I'm sleeping and I hear a crack. And because the tank overhung like this much on either side, the bottom cracked straight down the center of the glass tank. And I'm hearing water. Now, lucky for me, there was enough gravel, so it slowed the water flowing. It wasn't like a giant pour. It was a slow, small trickle. So I think I got a bowl or something, and I just stuck it in the tank and pulled up all the fish out of it. And then I got a bunch of towels, and I'm sopping up all the water. And it's on a bookshelf, so I got books on the thing. So I'm just taking books by the handful and throwing them to the other side of the bedroom. And then as I'm taking out the water is pretty much gone. I go to move the tank. Bad idea, because then the whole bottom just fell out. Now, 10 pounds of gravel hit the floor. It's going to wake somebody up. Because this is like 2 o'clock in the morning. So my dad's sleeping downstairs. He hears it, comes running up, like, what happened? What happened? I'm like, oh, the fish tank broke. I don't know what you want from me, bro. So he's like, oh, could you clean it up? I'm like, yeah, it's all cleaned up. We're good. He's like, okay, I'll buy it. He's like, okay, I'll get you a new one at some point. I'm like, it's fine, whatever. So like 6 months go by. It's June of senior year. I'm getting ready to graduate high school. He gets me the new fish tank. I'm like, okay, this will work. So I got it. I filled it up. I had an angelfish, red albino shark, rainbow shark. I had a rainbow shark. I had my surface again. Well, the guy at the Petco was like, oh, angelfish are super easy. I'm like, great. Now, they were like the silver dollar size, so they were still small. I didn't know they got big. I knew nothing about angelfish, because up until then, I only did surface and Cory's. So I'm like, okay, I'll get it. Well, it died. I went back. He gave me a new one. That one died. I went back. He gave me a new one. He's like, let me test your water. The tank was brand new, so there's no cycling at all. So he tests the water. He's like, oh, your water looks good to me. And then now thinking back, I'm like, well, no, heck, it looked good. It was freaking tap water.
Brand new water.
In it. The guy he couldn't tell me that there's no nitrates in the water when he tested it. Like, come on. So after I think the fourth or fifth angelfish, he was like, yeah, I'm not giving you any more. I'll just give you your money back.
Don't refund all of it. Oh, here's $100.
So let's see, that's June. College starts in August. Now, luckily, I was living with my sister for college because she lived 20 minutes from the campus. So I'm like, okay, well, I asked her, I'm like, can I bring the fish tank? She's like, sure, no problem. Just know that we have super hard water, so we use a water softener. I didn't know what the heck that meant. I knew nothing about hard and soft water. So I'm like, okay. We drained it. It was a 20-gallon. We drained it to about half. Dad and I put it in the trunk of the car, left the fish in it. I got a 10-hour drive up to Maine. Let's go. Every time we stopped for gas, I would check. The fish were fine. We get there. I unload the fish. I fill up the tank. Everybody does fine. Then I had like an Asian like pagoda kind of thing, one of those decor pieces.
Yeah.
Well, the rainbow, it had like the top part was sort of hollow. It like had a hole in it. The rainbow shark lodged itself in the hole. So that was one fish down. And at that point, it was just Tetras and Cory's again. And they lasted until I went back home. In about 2 years I was up there. Then I brought the tank back. And then I was fishing with a buddy, and I had caught We call them sunfish here. Other people call them pumpkin seeds. Some people call them bluegills. One of those we caught. And at that point,
we call them all perch.
Okay, yeah. And the fish was maybe, it was a baby. It was maybe this big. It's like a standard playing card size for the fish. I was like, well, I'm just going to put it in my fish tank. What could go wrong? Well, slowly but surely, it just ate all the other fish in the tank. I think it left the cories alone, but it ate the tetras. And I was like, well, I guess it's whatever. And I would just feed it, small things of fish food, and it would be fine. And then I get a job up in Maine again, and this time I was like, I'm not moving this fish tank for one fish at this point. So I said to my dad, just give him some food every couple days and make sure there's water in the tank. And he was like, okay. No problem, Lisa. So, I'm up there. I came home for, I think, Christmas. I was up there for 3 months, and then I came home. I get home. There's an inch of water in the tank. He forgot to put water in the tank for 3 months. I'm like, how do you forget to put water in a fish tank? So that was the end of that.
Feeding it?
He was. I don't think he was at that point. I think he just forgot it was in there. He probably fed it for the first couple of weeks and then forgot. So then at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I got rid of the fish. Well, I got rid of the tank. And then I was out of it from, that would be 2012 till 2018 in October is when I got back into the hobby. So about a 6-ish year gap, give or take. And then, because I knew fish cost money, and I didn't have a job for that stint while I was, back in school and whatnot. So I was like, okay, I'm back to work now. What do I want to get with my first paycheck? And I was like, well, I haven't had a fish tank in forever. Let's get a fish tank. So I go to PetSmart this time because it was closer. And they had their kits. It was a 20-gallon fish tank kit for like 50-something bucks. I was like, this is great. Comes with the filter, the heater. All I need is the gravel and the fish. So I ended up talking to the guy in the pet section for like 2 hours after I had perused all the fish for about an hour. Turns out it was the manager of the store. Super into fish himself. Told me after I found out he was the manager, he said he only hires people that have some kind of fish knowledge. Because whether you work in the department or not, he wants you to know about fish. So, I get the tank home. I set it up. Mother has a conniption fix. I have a fish tank. I'm like, I don't care. I'm 27. I can pretty much do what I want at this point. So I set it up. And at that point, I knew slightly more about, cycling tanks because I had taken a marine science class in high school. So I knew, fish food breaks down into ammonia, and I knew somewhat of the nitrogen cycle. So I threw some fish tanks in the tank, waited a couple weeks, and I was like, you know what? I can't wait anymore. I want fish. So I went to the pet store. I got a bunch of, I think I got the glow tetras. I got a few different color glow tetras. Got some cories. Then they had autos, and I was like, oh, these are super cool. Let me get some autos. Got some autos for the tank because they had fish that I'd never seen before. I didn't know there were 50 species or more of tetras at the time when I first was in it. I just only knew there were serpent tetras. That was the only tetra I knew about. So I get the tank all set up. It's going fine. 2 months later, come home from work, and I get up the stairs, and I smell that smell of death. And I'm like, what happened? Come into my bedroom, and I had a hang on the back on it. And I just see dead fish circulating. And I'm like, what the heck happened? Test the parameters. Ammonia and nitrates are 0. Nitrites they were like 10 or 15. But the pH went from 6.5 up to like 8 something. And I'm like, well, was it the crazy pH spike that killed them? The heater wasn't malfunctioning. Everything else was fine. The only thing that ended up surviving was 2 mollies, 2 cories, and my bamboo shrimp, which I just at that point I had a 10-gallon, so I threw those guys in the 10-gallon. And that's when I was like, okay, I don't know what happened, but at that point I had the 10, I had that, so I was good. And then I discovered betta fish. And that's a rabbit hole I've been stuck in ever since. 2. I think the last count I had, I was like at 18 or 20.
Ah.
But that's also including the wilds because they're still betas, so I count them in that. If I don't count them, it's
Yes.
probably like 12 beta fish. So now I've got 21 tanks, I think, between the basement and my bedroom. Let's see. It's a lot. Started breeding guppies. I got ram's horn snails up the wazoo because I just love the way they look. We've got, community tanks are still my favorite, though. I will always and forever love community tanks because you can just put everything and anything in them for the most part, and it's just a rainbow of color, and they look great. So the community tank is a 40-gallon. That's got Serpent tetras, neon tetras, cardinal tetras, lemon tetras, bloodfin tetras, scissortail rasboras, chili rasboras, harlequin rasboras, Cory cats, two-spot catfish, Siamese algae eater. I feel like I'm missing something, but there's a lot of stuff in that tank. It's planted up. Lots of Anubias and Val and guppy grass. Red root floaters on the top. I run a 55-gallon sponge filter and a 50-gallon hang on the back, I think it is. And I got the 10-gallon on my desk. That's got a beta fish or gourami. And yes, I know you're not supposed to put those together. I know that now. I didn't know that when I got the gourami, but they get along. They don't fight ever. They've never been aggressive towards each other, so I lucked out. It's got two kinds of Danios. It's got the regular zebra Danios, and then it's got the Kaiji or something. It's the orange Danios. I got some Simolinus Cory cats in there. And there are Neocaridina shrimp in it somewhere, but I haven't seen them in a year. But they're still in there. That again is, heavily planted. It's got a lot of Java moss and another plant that I can never remember the name of because it's some weird Italian or Latin name. And then again, red root floaters. That one's got a 10-gallon sponge filter and a 15-gallon hang in the back in it. It's overstocked, but it works because the nitrates stay at 20 and never go up. So, and Blake, I'm a fan of researching now. Now that I know better. Then at one point, we had a beta sorority tank. I started that after I saw Lisa's video on them, and I was like, you know what? I want to try this because I knew I wanted to get into African cichlids. And I knew, based on watching videos, that female betas can work in a group and sometimes be aggressive towards each other. And the same can be said for African cichlids. That you can have a group of them and they can live peacefully, but other times they'll just be vicious and attack each other. So I was like, let me do a stepping stone to the African cichlid tank with a beta female sorority. So I had the 20-gallon that crashed on me or whatever happened. That was still here. So I was like, okay, let's do that. So I started with 5 girls, ended up with 7 because of a breeder sent me more than I asked for. Planted it up, got the diddler fish, tried black neon tetras. Those didn't work as well for dithers as the emerald eye rasboras, which I think are an underrated rasbora. They're like a silver metallic body, but they have like some green specks in them, and their eyes are emerald, which I'm assuming where the name comes from. Had that tank up and running, I think it was 6 or 8 months in, and slowly, one by one, all the females died. They would be lethargic on the bottom. Then they'd resurge for about a week, and then they'd all get dropsy and start pine coning. So I checked my parameters. Someone at one point mentioned like parasite or something. So I medicated for parasites. I medicated for fungal, bacterial, everything I could think of. And they still slowly kept dying. But the rasboras and the tetras were fine. So I was like, okay. Then when the symptoms were the same, and I knew they all came from the same, batch of fish, I was like, maybe it just was some weird genetic organ birth defect. Because they all had the same. It was within like a 5-week span. They all slowly just died. But again, everything in the tank that was living with them was healthy and thriving. So that tank, I was devastated when those guys went. And I was like, do I just break down the tank and stop? And I was like, you know what? Dan had just gotten a batch of wild betas in. Let me message him and say, hey, can you put different kinds of wild betas together? Because I'd never seen it, like a community wild beta tank. I hadn't seen it done or anything. And he was like, well, these ones I would think would get along. I ordered like 2 or 3 of each one. They've been in that tank ever since, and it's been a year and a half, I think, since then. They're thriving. The Rasboras are still in it. The black neons are in there. Got Pleco in there. Plants are going crazy. Then we got, the 10, 12 beta tanks. All different kinds of betas. I got my African cichlid tank, which I don't talk about much because it's only a 30-gallon. I know I'm pushing it with it only being a small 30-gallon tank. But that's got yellow labs, manganos, and rusties. It's also planted, which I know African cichlids and plants, but mine work. They haven't eaten the plants. And they're together. Let's see. Then downstairs, I got the guppy breeding tank downstairs for my purple Moscows or purple mosaics, whichever you want to call them. I've got a 5-gallon for their, the culls from it, but I don't kill them. I just throw them in a 5-gallon and they start breeding, which is also loaded with ram's horn snails. I got a aquarium, to coin Rack's phrase, in a dog cage to keep it warm. That's wrapped with plastic and a heat pad that I put a strain of orange guppies in. Pompeii, all of my betas that I currently have actually came from John and Lisa. And then I've got, the brand new 5-gallon that I just got at Aquashella Chicago that I won in a raffle. That's currently cycling. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that. That might end up being another beta, or I'll put some shrimp in it. And then I have a 10-gallon with some rainbow fish in it. I think there's Pseudomocule illuminatus or something like that. Like a blue-orange neon rainbow. And that's about it, I think, on the tank. Oh, and I have a 6-gallon nano that's got CPDs and pygmy cories in it.
Okay. Hey, I'm impressed with the way you went through those tanks.
I'm impressed. I remembered all of them.
Hey.
Lid.
Snafus and all. Man. Hey, that 30-gallon African cichlid tank, man, look. Okay. If they rocking, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. Ooh. Okay. Let me see if I can get everybody that came in after the fact. Oh my goodness. Lefty. We got Chattanooga Ed.
Hey, Ed.
What's up? KG Tropical. Liquid Zoo. Chubbs. 503 Aquatics. Okay, man. Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all very much for visiting us on this night. as we are going in. Lefty keeping it spicy over there because he walks a thin line. He walks a thin line, y'all.
I'm working with limited space here. The African tank is on top of my dresser because I have nowhere else to put it.
Man. Hey, you sure it's not there so you can keep an eye on it?
Well, that works too because I can see it from everywhere.
Hey.
I got beta tanks up on a shelf in the closet. I got the African cichlids underneath them. I got tanks under my desk. Don't put tanks of water next to your computer. I don't recommend it. I did it, but don't do what I did because it's not the best idea in retrospect.
Ooh, no, I had a 10-gallon one night. Had my little racks. It's in some of my old videos. A little rack I made. I had my what was it, 4x6s. Lonnie, what's going on? Some I had some regular household bricks. Well, I had a 20-gallon long in the center, and I was doing a water change, and I had some 10s on the shelf above me. So I'm leaning into the 20 long. Now, I have to be thankful. As I'm leaning in there, working on the 20 long, slow drips. Boop,
Oh.
boop, boop. So look up. I don't know what 10 it is. It happened to be a 10 that I had taken the rims off and made it rimless myself, right? But I didn't put any leveling, material or nothing under. It's just up there,
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine probably how it, oh man. I'm glad it started dripping on me. It could have did it at any time while I was at work, but it was good. I was leaning and it was dripping on my head, But I got it broke down right quick, drained the water out before there was a catastrophe.
Yeah.
But yeah, if that one had been next to a computer, yeah, who knows what might have happened. Fry City. Oh man. And you were talking about your tank giving way on your bookshelf. I had gotten a fish tank. It was huge, man. I don't know. I don't even know what size it was. It was huge. It had like a 40 breeder or 75 footprint look, but it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it had come from a school. So, in retrospect, and being that I have acquired a little more knowledge now, I'm assuming it was a terrarium.
Oh.
It was drilled in the bottom and had a plug in it. The little plastic plug?
Yeah.
So, again, that was early on in my fish, hobby career. I see the plug. I'm like, well, hey, it's a fish tank. The plug came in it. So I'm assuming it's going to be okay. So I commenced to filling it up. When I say huge, I will repeat that. I think that tank is wild like 20 longs and 15 gallons and I love all short longs and the low boys. I love all of that looks. So middle of the night, I'm chilling. It started out quiet. Some fish assassin, what's going on? So I'm looking around. Then it gets louder. Then I hear, oh man, I go to the living room. Water's gushing.
Oh.
I had like 5 3-inch Oscars in it. I can't remember what else, but I know I had those guys in that. Oh, it's gushing on this carpet. Oh, now mind you, it's an old school carpet with thick padding under it, and oh man, it's
not a good
combo. I don't care how. Chattanooga Ed, did I mention you? What's up, buddy? What's up? Glad you made it in. I don't care how fast you try to move. Take that size, gushing water. For a while I was just like, okay, so what do I do now? Oh man, fan blowing. Needless to say, my house stank for probably a month, man. Again, I was young. I didn't pull the carpet up. I'm renting this house.
Right.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. Yes, that was one of those. That's what I thought of when you were speaking about your tank, man. I think besides the exploding 40 breeder that cut into my arm, you know, I think that may have been my worst situation. Oh man, you know, not all memories you want to come back. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I still remember this tank was beautiful, man. You know, like your 33 longs and beautiful, man. Oh my God. But that rascal said, oh, oh my goodness. Okay, back on the tracks again. We're gonna do it one more time. We're gonna try to do it one more time. So, Mr. Lefty, what do you foresee in your near and far future for yourself in your fish hobby?
Let's see. Near-wise, relatively soon, I'd either like to do a saltwater tank or a puffer tank. Puffer, I would want to do a some kind of puffer that I could put other fish with, because I want to do like a puffer tank with a bunch of like val or some kind of hair grass with tetras in it. I think that would look pretty cool. And then let's see, long term, I want to actually get like a somewhat legit fish room going, where I could try and breed out some other guppies or some other kind of. I want to try egg layers because I've never had success with them, so I want to give them a try at some point. But that'll be a long-term future goal, probably the next couple of years.
Well, I can speak for one particular species. If you want success with egg layers to get yourself started, get you some golden wonder killifish.
Okay.
I'm forever having a little googly eye guppy fry just showing up on me. You know, I'm like, hey man, that is an ugly guppy right there. What is really going on? So I just keep feeding them till it gets a little bit bigger. And you see that third eye in the top of the head. I'm like, hey, it's not a guppy. That's a golden wonder. So in the midst of moving stuff around, you know, tank to tank, so that means they're spawning relentlessly. And I just have eggs and everything, and I just have eggs going all over the place. So if you want to see some success with some egg layers, so you can get yourself, you know, hyped up and rolling, hey, these golden wonders not gonna let you down, man.
Wow. Have to remember
Poor
that.
poor man's arowana.
Oh, betas. I want to try breeding betas at least once. Once in my life, I want to try. No, I haven't. Well, I don't.
Oh.
I want to have the space ready because I know they can have large groups of fish, and I know you got to separate the males out.
Ooh, man. Oh. I'm just gonna let you keep talking. I'm not going.
I'm all done.
Ooh, man. Hey, you have to be ready.
Yes, that's one I would need to prep for.
You have to be ready. I made a whole video on that. I love him to death. Did me a few spawnings. I'm like, man, you know, I'm getting better at this. You know, hey. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, okay. Now I got the cup. Oh, all of the okay. Where are they going? You know, yeah. Yeah. Beautiful experience though. Beautiful experience, but you better be ready. Watching them grow, you know, and come into their own. See those little itty bitty rascals hunting in a little tank, and oh man, it is off the hook. But yeah. And what happens is when you're not prepared, you'll have the most success.
Yeah.
Breeding them. Everybody will live. You know. It's when you're ready, you got it all planned out. Spawns will crash, they'll fail, fathers eating eggs, all kinds of stuff is going on. But if If you're not ready, yes, you're gonna be super successful. But that's cool though, man. That is cool. That is cool. Have yourself some live food on hand, ready to go. There's some people, I mean, I have done it simply because I had some fry to survive in a guppy tank that I didn't even know. And it's wonderful when you can do that too with Splendors, you know. I didn't even know these babies were around. They just showed up. So that means they were eating. I know Infusoria was the start off because I keep, you know, my tanks stay, you know, like you're in a creek somewhere, you know, wading through. So there's always gonna be something in there to eat. But after they got a little bit larger, they had to be eating like food, you know, broke down food.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can use your first starter bites and stuff like that, but you know, you run into the, oh my God, I done put too much food in here, water change, don't suck up your fry, blah, blah, blah. You know, you run into that. Because you'll have some people, oh, you can, if you can keep from it, feed baby brine shrimp or something of that nature, because it's easier to keep up, you know, with that. Getting them, if they're not eating all up, getting them out of the tank, it's easier. You know, that's just giving a little bit of insight from experience, you know. But it could be a beautiful thing. Most definitely. So let the people know a little bit about your aspirations for or against storefronts of your own owning, you know. Or if you want to keep on computer.
I've thought about, you know, an actual storefront for fish. I actually I do have a business not related to fish that I've been doing online, so I've got a little experience there, but not with actual fish. I've heard horror stories about people that start fish stores or want to get into it, and heard different figures thrown around for how much you need to have with it. So for right now, I think I'm just going to stick to selling fish on eBay, breeding the guppies out. I want to, you know, go to a local fish store and actually see if they'll buy them, but with everything that was going on, I didn't have time to. So for right now, I think I'm just going to stick to online. I was going to start, you know, selling my guppies again online, but then the United States Postal Service decided to start taking forever to ship things again. I had a package going out to California, went from Connecticut to California to Massachusetts, back to Connecticut, back to Massachusetts, and I'm hoping it's on its way back to California. I put the kibosh on selling the fish online after I sent a beta to Rico. Now, Rico lives about 7 hours car ride from me. Took 10 days for the fish to get to him. Now, this is what, like December, January? So it had a heat pack in it, but it's not going to last no 10 days. So, of course, by the time it gets to him, the fish is dead, and I apologize profusely. I had another one that was sending out west or something, and it took, you know, that took 5 days to get there. I think she bought 2 pairs of guppies, and only one guppy died, and I was like, do you want a replacement? She's like, no, I don't want you to kill the fish again. I'm like, well, it's not my fault it took 5 days for the fish to get there. I'm like, do you want a refund? She's like, no, I don't want that either. I'm like, well, what do you want? She's like, I don't want anything. I'm like, okay, whatever. So after those 2, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna hold off on sending fish now.
Yes, send fish across town and it ends up on the airplane.
Yeah. Well, it got so bad, I actually hand delivered an order to a woman up in Massachusetts because only like 2 hours away. So I was like, she was like, it's gonna be 100 degrees and I don't want the fish to die. I'm like, I'll deliver them if you want. She's like, oh, that'd be great. I'm like, okay. So I actually hand delivered her fish. And as far as I know, she still has them and they've been breeding. So
that's a good deal. That's good. Very much so. Is there Ginger in the house? Is she sneak in on me? What's going on, geek boy? Yeah, there's. Hey, what's going on? Man? What's happening? How do? Man, so overall though, cause I dabbled in it, but I throw the lure out and reel it back in with like eBay with
Mhm.
fish. I had a few fish on there, and then ended up pull them back off. Barring the issues with the U.S. Postal Service, you say you had a pretty favorable experience with selling fish on it.
Yeah, I had fish listed. I had the same fish listed on eBay, Aquabid, and GetGills. Had no luck on Aquabid. I had minimal success on GetGills, and I think that's only because GetGills seems like it's a very niche thing and it's very word of mouth. Because I know before I got into the fish fam on YouTube, I had no clue GetGills existed. And then eBay, it's just, eBay's massive. So that's where I got the
Yeah.
majority of my fish sales from, was on eBay. And I had no issues there because eBay runs through PayPal. You've got PayPal to back you up, and you've got eBay to back you up if people try to, scam you for their money back. But I give people, I'll guarantee the fish for 3 days after you get them in case anything goes wrong. And if you need, I'll send out a replacement. I didn't charge people for shipping replacement fish because I don't agree with that for the most part. So, but yeah, it wasn't that bad selling online. It was actually kind of fun to sell, package up the fish, and ship them off.
Yeah, I've collected up all kinds of boxes.
I just got rid of all my boxes and styrofoam because I'm like, they've been in the basement for a year and I haven't shipped anything. Well, I still have all like the collapsed boxes. I just got rid of all the other because I would save it. Oh, I got a fish order. I'll just save the box. It's already insulated. Nah, I just got rid of it all.
Right. Ooh, man. Yeah. I would say buying fish on eBay has been pretty good for me. But yeah, it's the actual sending it aspect. I don't, I may pull the trigger one day. The U.S. mail kind of helped me, decide not to also,
Yeah, I think a lot of people are leaning more toward UPS and FedEx now to actually ship things, at least live things. They seem to be more reliable at the moment.
Gotcha. They're going to be door dashing it in a minute.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I door dash in my part time, and you'll be surprised some of the stuff that come up. I'm like, what? Oh, I'm going there. Okay. Yeah. All right. Had no idea you could do that, but okay. I'm not mad. Pay me, here I come, So, man, we had 57 minutes. What is that? Where's time gone? But we're gonna squeeze the shellers in here. Shellers you've gone to, shellers you'd like to go to, experience at a sheller.
All right, well, let's see. Well, the first one I would have known about would have been the one this past June in Orlando. I was this close to going. And then our snow days came through at work, and I was like, crap. The day I'd be driving home is the day after. I'm like, I can't miss the last day of work. Because it was my first full year working at the school, barring, crazy things that closed us down. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to skip this one, and I'll plan on going to Chicago. So I missed Orlando, which I felt bad about, but then I got a care package from Ed, and, he had John and Lisa sign a little card for me. So I was like, oh, that's super nice. So then I was like, well, I have to go to Chicago now. So I got the room and everything for Chicago. And then everybody's like, oh, we're getting in Thursday. And I'm like, okay, I guess I could, find a cheap motel or something for Thursday night. I've stayed in cheap little hole in the walls before. No problem. So I drive out, 15-hour drive, get there. The room, first of all, my key didn't work because the battery for the electronic key reader was dead. So I go to the office, and she's like, here's another key. The second key didn't work, so I go back, and she's like, okay, I'll let you in myself. So her key didn't work, so she used her actual key to let me in. She's like, okay, you're all set now. And I'm like, well, how do I get in and out of the room with my stuff. So I just left the door cracked. I got all my stuff out of the car and went in because I had been in the car for 15 hours. So at that point, I just wanted to, take a shower and go to bed. I get my stuff in the room. The room reeked of marijuana, human fluids, and God knows what else. There was sand on the floor. There was some kind of white powder all over the kitchen, the sink. And I was so grossed out, and I've never been this bad. I'll sleep on the ground outside. I was just grossed out. So I'm looking for other hotels in the area. I called the main hotel for Aquashella, and they had no rooms. I figured they wouldn't. I found a Wyndham, and I was like, okay. I booked the room, went to the front desk, and I was like, I can't stay here. She's like, why? And I told her why. She's like, okay, that's fine. I'll check you out. I'll comp you your money. The system wouldn't let her comp me for some reason. So she's like, I'll tell the manager when she comes in, and this is my name, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I'll leave a review. I'll say you were great, and the room was crap. So I leave. I go to the new hotel, and they're much nicer. Stayed there for the night. Got up the next morning, went to a fish store in the area. And I called ahead. I was like, do you guys mind if people come in and film, your fish and stuff? He's like, no problem. Now, I'd never filmed in public. So I get there, and I took a little while. And then Zen was finally like, just do it. So I, pulled out the GoPro and started filming. I think I filmed for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Right as I'm getting ready to leave, here comes John and Lisa from KG Tropicals and Primetime Aquatics walking in. I'm like, well, I can't leave now. So
I'd say not.
The fish store is on the left side, and then it's connected to like a typical pet store for dogs and cats on the right. They didn't come in the fish store side. They went in on the puppy and kitten side. So I'm like, I had a whole thing planned. I was like, they were gonna walk in, and I was gonna be like, well, I didn't plan on meeting you guys this early, but they of course went in the wrong door. So I go out the exit. I come around, and I'm like, Lisa. She turns around, and she's like, oh, my God. And I get a big hug and everything. And then she's like, oh, John's somewhere. And I'm like, that's fine. So we walk through, and like 5 minutes later, Lisa's like, John, did you say hi to Lefty? He's like, I was going to get to it. I'm like, I figured you would. You were busy. So then we hung out there, and we all went our separate ways. Go in, check in at the main hotel. And as I'm walking in, I see James from Fisherman Fever, and he's like, okay, they're all upstairs at the bar. I'm like, okay. Checked myself in, hung out with James, Ed, Susie Q, Joe from Joe's Shrimp Shack, and there was somebody else there whose name I can't remember. Carrie was there at one point. And then it was Friday, so Ed and I had our Friday stream. We ended up doing it in the lobby, and we're like, 10, 15 minutes in, and Carrie comes up asking for Susie because there was some issue with like tech or something in the YouTubing area. And then I happened to be on StreamYard, which is what they were using. I happened to be able to, I could use Nightbot. So Susie's like, well, Lefty's on StreamYard and he knows how to use Nightbot. Maybe he can look at it. So I'm like, okay, I'll go take a look. So we leave my stream. I leave Ed alone on the stream with my computer and everything else. Run down to the venue. Now, I didn't know who Rob from Flip Aquatics was. I'd never seen what he looked like before. He's trying to figure it out. John's there, Primetime, Fish Tank Barn. You have all these big YouTubers, and here I come, and I'm like, what's the problem? And they had plugged.
Save the day.
I'm like, you guys have hundreds of thousands of subs between y'all. You can't figure out a tech issue. So they had plugged 3 separate microphones into like an audio mixer, and they couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. They kept blaming StreamYards. I'm like, no, it's not StreamYards. StreamYards works off of Windows, and Windows is only picking up 2 microphones. So it ended up being super simple. We just had to increase how many microphones Windows was picking up. We fixed it. We got it working. Rob was like, you saved it. I'm like, okay, I don't really know who you are, but nice to meet you. And then I left and went back to my stream with Ed. We hung out. We did the stream. Then I got invited to go to Aquascape Construction or Aqualand, that was a great experience. Getting to see all the different ponds and stuff with their massive build outside. Koi that were like 3-4 feet long. I was in heaven because I really want a koi pond. Oh, leg cramp. Go away. Anyway,
Don't fight it. You have to let it happen.
I know. I usually stand up, but you're just not going to move that leg. So that's what happens when I drink too much coffee. So then let's see. That was a Friday night. Saturday was the first day. I woke up late. Didn't know I could get in early. Well, I knew I could get in early, but I didn't know if I had to stand in line or what would happen. And then Carrie and Susie were walking by, and they, brought me in a secret door so I could get my pass and everything. And then I get there. I'm like there for 5 minutes, and Joe comes over from Joe's Shrimp Shack. He's like, "Hey, Lefty, could you go pick up a prescription? I got scratched in the eye last night, and my doctor called in a script." He's like, "It's at the Walgreens." I'm like, "Okay." Now I'm thinking it's Chicago. There's going to be the Walgreens has got to be 5 minutes away, right? It was a half an hour away. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. I don't want the dude to go blind. So I drive out there, and of course, there's road construction. So a half hour turned into 45 minutes. So Joe, in the meantime, was trying to text me, but he, instead of doing 203 for the area code, I think he'd like 201 or something. So I wasn't getting any of his messages. So he thought I got in a car accident or something. Because I was gone for an hour and a half because of all the traffic.
Non-responsive.
Yeah. I finally get back. I'm like, here you go, Joe. And then I just hung out at the YouTube booth. I walked around a little bit, did a live stream. Let's see, Saturday night. Oh, Saturday night was the night we went to the steak place. That was super. That was fun. When they bring out the steak on the pole and they cut it for you. Oh, that was a once in a lifetime thing right there. I sat next to John, Lisa, Primetime, and James, and they gave you fried bananas to cleanse your palate. So I had a knife and I cut it up really quick, and they're all like, "Whoa, that was really cool." I'm like, "What?" I just cut something up. They were mesmerized how I just did it all in one motion. I'm like, I'm good with knives, I guess. Then we went, I think Saturday's night tonight, I may have too many adult apple juice drinks.
It can happen.
But then I woke up at 6:30 Sunday morning ready to go, and I'm like, why am I up this early? So then Sunday, I got to the event early. I did my actual filming. We hung out. That's the night Ed bought us a nice Chicago pizza, which was pretty good. So Chicago was fun. The drive, 15 hours, is about my max that I'll do in a day. I want to go to Dallas, but I did the math. It's about $1,500 on the cheap end for me to go. And I just don't think I can swing that. So I'm saying I'm probably not going to Dallas, but I'm super hard committing to Keystone Clash in a couple weeks. So that'll probably be my last fish event for the year. And then next year, I want to make Orlando and Chicago again for Aquashellas. Regardless of work in June, I'm going to just tell them I have to go. I'll make something up.
I hear you. Kenny E, what's going on?
Hey, Kenny.
Yeah, I want to try to catch, Dallas since I'm now Big Tank Hank, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what when I first heard about him, 2 years ago, I'm like, man, this looks fun. But I was just that guy,
Mm.
Yeah, now somebody might want to see me, hey, it's what? I saw you too. Get to hang out with the cool kids, I'd like that.
Fish Tropic, I don't know. We didn't have to show a Vax card for Chicago. But I know it was on because I booked my rooms through Expedia, and it was part of the travel advisory on Expedia was bring a copy of your card just in case. So I would just make a copy of it and have it. But I don't think it wasn't required, no.
That's crazy when you see the signs on the doors that say, hey, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to. I'm like, okay, the sign is cool, but at your job, you have a pot of coffee and you had a little cup that says 5 cents, please, and there's never any money in it, you know. We just go you know, we gonna trust you, you know. Hey, you might as well not have a sign up. It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, I never understood that when they're like, "Oh, if you are, you don't have to wear one," and I'm like, "Well, are you checking people? Because how
Yeah,
do you
right.
know?" Like even like the hotels had that up, and I was like, so I wore it at reception just to be, you know, polite and respectful. And then once I was going back for the car, I'm like, I'm not wearing this thing to bring my luggage in, because there was no one else in the freaking hotel when I was checking in the first time. And then we didn't have to wear it for the event, which I kind of liked, because working in a school, I have to wear it 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna have to catch something. One of these, man, I'm gonna have to catch one of them. One of them. I'm just gonna have to pull the trigger, man, and do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the antisocial YouTuber, you know. that reputation. Hank's never at anything, you know.
I am extremely glad I bit the bullet and went to Chicago, because it was definitely a fun time. And I got to see fish that it's like flower horns and axolotls I've never actually seen in person. So actually getting to see them in person, yeah, because I've never had them, and Petco and PetSmart don't really ever carry them that I know of, at least here. So it's kind of nice to actually get to go and actually see these things in person, because I've always thought flower horns were kind of an ugly, non-my-speed fish. And then actually seeing some in person, I was like, oh, these fish actually aren't that bad looking. So I might actually want to get one at some point. And I've always, you know, liked axolotls, because that's what a Pokemon was based off of. So I'm like, well, I might want to keep those at some point too.
And I've been thinking about axolotls here lately for some reason. I'm like, don't know. Do I? Is it just because they're popular? But I'm also the guy who wants salamander or newt, and that's been since I was a little bitty fella. But I haven't seen any in anybody's stores. Nobody sells them online.
I saw newts on eBay last year, because I remember messaging Zen saying I wanted to get them. And then I never actually got them, because what did I get instead? I think I did the African sickle tank instead. And I haven't seen the listing come back up, and I'm kind of pissed I didn't do it when I saw them.
Right. Because, see, can I call it a dream? I'm not even going to call it a dream, because I'm going to do it. But I want to pull off an epic vivarium. Still going over in my head how I want to do it. Am I going to use low boy style tank? Am I going to buy an actual, front opening one, that's made for that? What am I going to do? But dart frogs, newts, out of those two. But I really, really liked newts and salamanders and stuff since I was little, man. But in Texas, the part of Texas I'm in, they don't exist.
Oh.
And I would see people, oh man, in my backyard, or when it rains and when I go to the creek. And I'm like, man, I haven't seen a salamander in life except on TV or in a book.
We would occasionally get the salamanders at my childhood home, because we had 2 Varroa ponds behind our house that I would assume they bred in. And we would every now and then we'd go down in the woods, and you'd just see them walking on the ground. And slowly over the years, there were less and less of them, probably because we kept building up more.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the thing.
So I'm hoping that if they ever go to, because I think there's something like 20 or 30 acres behind my house where I grew up. And they've been talking about building a community home, for old folks down, a Jewish community home or something kind of thing. And I'm hoping that if they ever go to do that, someone with half a brain comes in and says, hang on, we have endangered species back here like salamanders and this thing and that thing. This is going to be designated wetlands and you can never build back here. I'm hoping that happens if it ever comes to it.
Right. Yeah, Fish Tropics. You need to go and catch one for me and send it to me. And Pompeii Ranch, that's what I kind of want to do. I want to put something together. This is part of the story, y'all. This is part of the vivarium thing. It just seems like it's not once I tell the story. But my wife was having surgery one day last month, I think. And Stephen of Warrior Planet Text sent her a flower, or at least that's initially what he said. But when it got to the house, it was a plant. But it had all of these plants that you see in vivariums. So, you know, I'm the one that takes care of everything outside of being human or puppy. My wife takes care of, you know, the puppy. If it's flowers, if it's this, if it's that, it's me that's watering everything. So I'm always eyeballing, you know, her plants like, yes. Soon I'm going to put all of you in a vivarium. She won't miss you. Yes, I will. I will do it. Oh, my fault. My fault, y'all. I'm back. You know, I was letting y'all see too much inside of, you know, my thought patterns right there. I'm back. I'm back. But yeah, man, look. 116 tonight was epic. I'm gonna say that, man. You know, hey, enjoyed it. But y'all, we are gonna have to get out of here. Sir, hold on. Corvus, what's going on, man? You can't be coming in late like that, man. What's going on? I mean, I'm glad to see you here, you know, brother, but you know, come on, man. Come on. 10:30 Central. Need you to jazz up the discussion in the chats, man. Come on. I know you got it in you. But yeah, y'all, we're gonna get on up out of here. I want to thank everybody for coming in and riding with us. You know, we really enjoyed hanging with my dog. Okay, I got you. You know, the babies, I'll make room for the baby. Just hanging with your baby. I got you. No problem. But I know you're gonna be here next time. Bring her with you. You know, the YouTube rules don't count if she's not on camera. So, you know, you can bring her to the chats with you, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, y'all, I love y'all. I love y'all very much. And when I say the word love, I know exactly what it means. And when I say it, I really mean it. Glad I had a chance to, you know, meet everybody and meet. Once upon a time, meet meant face to face, but now we're in the virtual world. So we all know each other. You know, it's just we'll get that and take that next step, and we'll be able to see each other at some point in time. But we know each other because we spend so much time together. So yes, I'm glad I had a chance to meet y'all. And I enjoy the time we have together. Hey, thank y'all for coming through. This means so much to me to be able to do this every week. You know what I'm saying? And let me stop talking because I'll go another 30 minutes, you know, telling y'all. Well, we gonna get out of here, man. Y'all tell somebody you love them. Love somebody. Take care of them fish you got. Me and Lefty is out. Hey.
See everybody.